loud because God forbid. Hello, how are you? Did you hear me say God forbid? I have tried this twice before and we are going to get this right this time. Okay, so good morning. It's still the morning here on the Pacific Coast. I am coming to you from Friday Harbor in Washington, and this is my first of three videos on writing fiction specifically. I'm very excited to be sharing this with you. Let me go over to my cheat sheet, which I have three. This is a three-part webinar series which is posted on my website, and it's on the basics, on character, and on conflict of writing fiction. So video 1 is on writing the basics. And the basics aren't so basic. I just want you to know that. So welcome. I'm so happy you're joining me for this first of 3 short lessons on writing fiction. In this first video, we'll discuss the basics of fiction. And I'm using also parts of my own writing on how to write book called Muscle Up the Gut of Your Story, How to Write the Novel. That I've used that workbook for over a decade, well, let's see, 15 years. 15 years I've been using this same workbook. It wasn't at first a workbook, it wasn't in print, but later on as I realized that I was going to be doing more and more workshops in person and online, I really decided that I needed to have something that would be of use to my students. So it's a short little book, but it's really handy, and it's very clear. It's not a whole bunch of information that I've written. I'm just saying this is what you do, and do it like this, and boom, boom, boom. It's very cut and dry. It's very useful little tool. The print book is much easier, obviously, because you can write and that sort of thing within it. Plus it's got line pages and that sort of thing in the back, and some actual character analysis charts that you can actually write in. You can even pull those out, copy them, and then use those to do more characters as you grow and you write more novels, and I hope you do. I'm going to be scrolling down here. So this first lesson will concentrate on the 9 elements of fiction. I'm going to go through those really fast, so bear with me. And you can rerun this as many times as you want. So the first element is inciting event. The second element is narrative and exposition. The third element is the real problem. The fourth element is internal and external conflict. The fifth element is rising action. The sixth is 3 things: foreshadowing, suspense, and tension. But foreshadowing is a way to create suspense and tension. The 7th item is crisis and climax. The 8th is falling action, and the 9th is understanding and realization. So those are the 9 elements of writing fiction. Excuse me. So on inciting event, this is a plot device that sets the story in motion. It's like the thing that thrusts the story into a gallop. I mean, you have to have something that hooks the reader right away. And this is one wonderful way to hook a reader by this, using this plot device called inciting event. Plus, it adds to the protagonist's conflict. It is inherent conflict. If it were not for this inciting event, then the story wouldn't get going. The story wouldn't happen, not this way anyway. So inciting event is the thing that thrusts the story into action. The narrative and exposition is background information necessary for readers to understand what happens within a story and for the protagonist, as well as any character that you want to do any kind of expository writing or narrative writing. And remember, dialogue is also part of exposition, just so you know. So the third, the real problem, is the dilemma at the heart of the story, inner and outer. And that dilemma deals directly with the protagonist. So we get to both of those, the internal and external conflict. And in the third video, we kind of get real down and dirty with conflict. So you'll want to watch that. And then the fifth item is rising action. And this is the intensification of action, events, and conflicts. In way long ago, 330 BC, Aristotle decided that he was going to tell us what dramatic structure is. And he said that any good story includes these three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. And but it doesn't give us much of a roadmap. I mean, I guess we could, if we were just innately brilliant, and believe me, I am not, that I needed a little bit more. I kind of am one of those paint my numbers people. So I like a little bit more information. And I like to, think about each element. So those three parts have a lot, and all of that I'm talking about today, I'm talking about the this lesson of 9 elements of fiction, that all funnels through into those three parts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. Okay, so where did I just leave off? My goodness. Crisis and climax. Okay, golly. Okay, so the emotional this is the emotional turning point. I know I didn't. Oh, great. Okay, I can edit this out. Rising action. So that's rising action. And again, rising action is the intensification of action, events, and conflict. And rising action happens in that middle section. And then there's foreshadowing, suspense, and tension. Foreshadowing is a great way to really move your characters around by dangling things in front of their nose. They're hints about future events and conflict, and they're fun to play with. I like to just play around just with scenes of foreshadowing, just to see if I can make somebody go, well, what happens, So then crisis and climax is the 7th item, and that's the emotional turning point of higher drama and consequences, and the highest point of dramatic intensity and or action, where the external plot problem is resolved one way or the other. Okay, so this is the climax. This is at the end of the middle section, where rising action has reached its apex. It can't go any further or it will just explode. And hopefully that's what we want the reader to think. When we get to that climax, we want it to be like the fullest, most emotional action that can happen, or the highest point of actual action that can happen. And then the next item, number 8, is falling action. And this is the outcome from the immediate end of the climax. It's the sorting out of what has happened and the finishing of small conflicts. And then the 9th is this understanding and realization. And this is often called the epiphany. It's like the sudden insight by the protagonist that provides new understanding of events from the past and leads to growth and understanding and fulfillment of a universal need or yearning. Now, this is very important. It's always great to see a character who actually learns something from the path that they've been on, from this story that has unfolded in the reader's mind and has happened to this actual character that we've built. But it's equally and possibly better when the reader feels the same universal need or yearning. And that's what we're going for. We want to move our readers around as if a bull with a ring in its nose, and we're leading them every which way that we want to take them. So this is the first of the 3 little short videos on writing. This was the basics, and I want to thank you very much for joining me. Lessons 2 and 3 are on character and on conflict, and they follow, and I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I have. Recording it. I can't say that, but I have, and it's been a joy. And I hope you're not only enjoying it, but learning something as well. So I appreciate your time, and check out video 2 and 3. All right. Bye-bye.